And the first spell we get is Cosmic Distortion. 4 mana, deal 3 damage to the enemy hero, augment to a minion and the enemy hero, augment 2, deal 5 instead. So augment 2 is basically, the mechanic of this deck is you can spend 2 more mana and change the card so it's 5 damage to a minion and 5 to the enemy hero. So then it becomes a 6 mana 5/5. You're given the choice as you play the card, like the choose one effect. It'll work like that, but if you can't afford to do that anyway, so it's turn 4 when you play this, you're not given the option and it does just do the original effect. So it's like you're getting a Sinister Strike and a Dark Bomb combined, and then you've had to up the cost a bit to make up for the fact that you've just combined 2 cards. But then you can augment, and you're getting, for 6 mana, 10 damage, the 2 mana Mind Blast, and then the 5 damage, which would be worth like nearly 4 mana, like 3.5, and then the extra half a mana cost to make up for the fact you've combined 2. So yeah, it's a pretty cool card, a lot of versatility, good removal and good damage. Stygian Bargainer is 2 mana 2/1 Battle Cry. Your hero power costs 0 next turn and 1 the turn after. So turn 2 you play this 2/1, which seems a bit like a tempo drop, but then turn 3 you could play a 3-drop minion and your hero power, and then turn 4 you could play another 3-drop minion and your hero power. So then it builds up like those 0 cost cards in your hand, it builds up the spells, the tempo, and gives you quite a few options on how to play the game. It's a nice little card. The Demon, it doesn't have any synergy with the deck, but it might do with neutral cards, or if you're a warlock and you've stole this card. So yeah, it's a nice little drop in it. Mistress of Mana is kind of like the Mana Worm equivalent. 1 mana 1/2, at the end of your turn, gain +1 attack. If you played a Chronos spell, gain +2 instead. So it's kind of like the Mana Worm, how playing a spell gives it +1 attack. However, it's guaranteed every turn, and but it is limited to 2. So you play this, and then turn 2 you play your hero power. By the end of turn 2, that is a 4/2, which doesn't seem amazing, but if they can't remove it, it will spiral really out of control like Mana Worm does. The problem with this over Mana Worm is this effect occurs at the end of your turn, so you can't play the spells and then attack. So that is a delay. But the plus side is Chronos spells are cheap and you're guaranteed them whenever you want. And you're not like expending your own cards like your 30 card deck. You're getting to use an infinite supply. So if you can keep these alive, they can spiral out of control much more consistently than a Mana Worm can. And it's a nice little turn 1 drop, and you might want to play it later after saving up like some Chronos spells, and then you can just keep adding to it each turn. So it's a nice little common. And now this is the first secret, 1 mana secret. When your opponent plays a minion, return it to their hand. So it's a sap that costs 1 less because it's random, and it's basically undoing their play again, as we saw earlier. But the cost is always hidden. So you know how normally you'll have that bar at the bottom, which your opponents can see how much mana you're currently on. Well, that will become a question mark, because there's going to be 1, 2 and 3 cost secrets in this deck, but they won't know which cost you've played, just to keep it like balanced. So this is just a discounted sap with the random effect. It's a nice bit of like anti-tempo. They can always just play it again straight away, but that's doubling the cost of what they were initially planning, and it could ruin their turn, especially if they're like an Exodia mage or something. And then Undo Fatality is the next secret, 2 mana. When a friendly minion is killed, return it to life with the health it was on. So if it was a 2 mana 2/3 and it was killed by a Frostbolt, it will come back as a 2/3. But if it was like pinged and then killed, it will come back as a 2/2. So it's like the Paladin secret, the 1 mana one, brings it back to life with 1 health every time. This one could come back with more, so it's especially good against priest with their shadow words. It's a good against mages and warlocks with Siphon Soul. So it's like, it's a bit more random and it's not as consistent, but when used properly it can be a lot more beneficial for only 1 extra mana, and again the cost is hidden. Halt Continuance is the next secret, the 3 mana one. When an enemy minion attacks, end their turn. So it's like they've got 3 minions on the board and 10 mana, but they attack straight away. That attack gets cancelled out and their turn ends. Now that does sound really strong, but it's so conditional. Like, they might only have 1 minion and they play all their cards first before attacking. So then eventually, well, essentially, you've only just stopped 1 attack. So it can be like a better ice barrier, it can be a worse ice barrier. But the problem with this card, and why I think it won't see play, or at least why I thought it wouldn't see play until the latest expansion came out, is because it disturbs the opponent. But now they've got cards like Skulking Geist and Gnome-Feratu, which is discarding opponent's cards, which was originally seen as a bad thing in Hearthstone, but for some reason now they've brought it in. But, you know, whatever. I'm not a dev. I don't get a say. I'm just a peasant. Right, Time Warden is a 4 mana 2/6 taunt, Death Rattle. Restore all friendly minions to the health they were on last turn. So, let's say he was killed. Last turn you had the same board without this guy, and they were all at full health. This turn, he was killed by, let's say, the, what's it called? That 8 mana bloody, we'll just say Doom. Doom killed it, right? It was fucking Doom all along. We knew it. So when he dies, all the other minions died, so it won't work. But if he was killed by, let's say, 2 flame strikes, he'll bring them back to the health they were on when they took the damage from that final flame strike. It's very conditional, but a 4 mana 2/6 taunt is quite a stable body. It's like the same amount of stats as Sen'jin, and it could be really good in, again, the right hands. And because it's a taunt, this will die before those other minions do, unless it's like AoE that kills them all. But 6 health is very hard to be killed by an AoE unless something else is done first. It's conditional, but it could be good, and I think in a more priesty control style deck this is pretty good. Right, Keeper of Balance is a 3 mana 2/4. Whenever a friendly minion is killed or restored to full health, add a Chronos spell to your hand. The theme is, right, you've got whenever a friendly minion is killed or restored, so it's like the good and bad, like, balance thing, and you're getting the Chronos spells, which again, you'll see synergy at some point with that. I'm not sure if it's in the vanilla sets, which I'm showing you in this video, or Ungoro later on, but I'm pretty sure there's some synergy. Well, you saw the 1 mana 1/2 earlier. It's like, the whole idea is, you could play this, and then you're going to be trading things out that are definitely going to die, and that's going to add the Chronos spells. Or you could play it with this card, restore them to what they were on last turn, and then end your turn. That gets killed, 4 mana card, and then they're all restored back. Job's a good one. Keeper of Balance has just done some shizzle, and it also does work with your Chronos things, like you've got that soul flare thing, the AoE that dealt damage to your minions too. That could kill your friendly minions, or you could be restoring them to full health with your healing Chronos spell. So essentially, you've got infinite Chronos spells coming in for 0 pence. Very nice. Hawkish Deluge is 6 mana, deal 3 damage to all enemy minions, augment 1, so for 1 extra mana you can freeze 2 of them, the left and the rightmost minions. So it's basically Blizzard for Well, if you want the freeze, it's for 1 more mana. You're getting 1 more damage, but you're not freezing all of them. Otherwise, you're missing out on the freeze altogether, but you're getting 1 more damage to make up for it. Because Blizzard is like Consecration plus Frost Nova. Whereas this would like have to make up for the fact that you're missing out on that 3 mana Frost Nova, so it's still an extra damage. It's 1 less than Fire, Pyroblast, Flame Strike, that's it. Too many fire cards. Flame Strike, 1 less for 1 less damage, which doesn't really meet the scalings properly, because it's 2 mana for 1, 4 mana for 2. But what can I say? Flame Strike is the AoE king of value too. Can't complain there. Well, it's good control for the AoE, and if you want to slow them down, you can be freezing them as well. And it'll freeze after the damage is dealt, so if all those minions in the middle were going to be killed anyway, it's freezing the remaining 2. Or however many's left, there might only be 1, you never know. But it will freeze 1 or 2 minions if they are left. Expedite Time is 5 mana. Add 1 of each Chronos spell to your hand and gain a mana crystal. Which, it's basically like the Nourish equivalent of the deck. Because instead of drawing 3 cards, you're adding 1 of each Chronos spell. Which in a way is worse, but you're not cutting into your deck, so in a way it's better. And the mana crystal is, instead of the 2 mana crystals, choose 1 option you get with Nourish, so this is like combining the 2 but weakening both of them. So it's a nice stabilizer. It's like the mana crystal could be useful, it might not, but it basically means this is a 4-cost card. 1 of each Chronos spell could be really useful, especially because they're 0 mana, but 2 mana if you're spending your hero power, so it's still a discount on those. And the synergy that Chronos spells will have with this deck is pretty good. All in all, it's a nice little spell. Shattered Existence is the 7 mana spell. Destroy a minion, then deal its attack to adjacent minions. So the way I balance this was Rogue have a card, choose a minion, deal its attack to adjacent minions, and Rogue also have a card, destroy a minion. Now you combine them both together, you get a 7 mana card. Job's a good one, very nice. But you're getting the hard removal, you're getting a bit of AoE, it's conditional, but it does the ticket. Nice. Oh, actually, one more thing. The Meteor equivalent of the deck, but in a way better. Because you're guaranteeing the kill, which I'm pretty sure 15 damage is going to kill it, but with Jade Druid these days, it might not. And then, instead of 3 damage, which granted, it's consistent, but if you're destroying a Lich King, it's 8 damage to adjacent. So, not bad. Not bad at all. Servant of Zanya brings in another new mechanic, Stasis, which is 5 mana 3/6 Battlecry, give a minion Stasis until next turn. Stasis is like combining Stealth, Frozen, and can't be targeted by spells or hero powers together, because once a minion's in Stasis, it's essentially dead for that turn. Like, nothing can be done to that minion. AoE won't kill it, even Twisting Nether, which is the card I was trying to think of earlier. Nothing can do anything to that card now. You have basically removed it from the board and it'll be back next turn. So it's good to either, if an enemy minion's going to attack you and it's got a lot of attack and it might kill you, you can give it Stasis to stop that for a turn. Or if you've got a really good minion and you want to protect it for next turn because you're going to pull off a combo, that's what it could be used for. So yeah, it cancels out taunts though, like Stealth does. It's a cool mechanic, and it's kind of like pausing time for that creature. So yes, I like it. Now we've got another secret, which is an epic 2 mana secret. At the start of your turn, if any minions are on 3 or less health, destroy them. So I should probably stop comparing them to real cards, but that's where I got my inspiration from. It's kind of like the sleeping with the fishes equivalent. Now it's like, I guess you can control it more in a way that you can deal your damage and then remain what's there, and like set up for and prepare for your opponent's damage, and that they're gonna play more minions. And because it's 2 mana as well, they might just play minions that have 3 or less health straight away. It's good AoE, it's good board clear, and originally this was going to only be 2 or less health, but I thought sleeping with the fishes is like 3, so it needs to be fair because this is going off at a more like conditional time. So it's hard to use again, like other spells are, but when used properly it can show good results. Now here is the legendary of the basic standard cards of the class. 8 mana 6/8, Battlecry, add a Chronos rune to your hand. Augment 2, gain +2 attack, so it becomes a 10 mana 8/8, add all 3 instead. So the 3 Chronos runes are Earth rune, which is an upgrade on the Earth core, I think it was called, the Chronos spells basically. It says give all friendly minions is what it's supposed to say, +1/+2, and give a random minion, friendly minion, Taunt and Divine Shield. So these runes are also 0 mana because you've just paid 10 bloody mana for a card. So you're getting, it's like Death Knight cards, isn't it? Except they do cost mana, but you're paying 8 mana for an 8/8 Taunt, it does something straight away there. And this is a class card, so it does need to be stronger. So yeah, it's good board strengthener. I guess it's like the Death Knight card that's like buffs all the minions and makes it untargetable by spells, but it's like a weaker version of that. Again, it's the most conditional of the 3 runes, but it's pretty decent. Got Solar Rune, which is the replacement for the Light Core. Restore 2 health to all friendly minions and 5 to your hero. So it's like your circle of healing, but because it's not all minions, it's less to yours. And then you're getting that extra bit of health on the hero as well. So instead of the 1 health to your hero and the 2 to minions, it's 2 to each minion and 5 to your hero. And then finally, the best, the Void Rune. Deal 1 damage to all enemy minions and 5 damage to the enemy hero. Arcane Explosion and Mind Blast, basically. So I think if you look at all of these, they're probably worth about 3 mana, give or take. Like all minions +1/+2, and that with the Taunt Divine Shield I'd say would be 3 mana, because it's 1 mana for +1/+1. So it'd be 2 mana for the +1/+2 and 3 mana for the Taunt Divine Shield. You've got the Solar Rune, which would be, that'd probably be 1 mana, 2 health to all friendly minions, and then maybe 0, and then 5 to your heroes. This is probably the least value one, but because it's giving so much sustain, I think it makes up for it. It probably should be stronger, but with you getting all 3, it's not a big deal anyway. Because you're probably going to always choose all 3. They're really strong spells, and they benefit really well. This one especially benefits really well from spell damage. So you're getting 0 mana, deal 1 damage to all enemy minions, and 5 damage to the enemy hero. And that'll become 2 and 6, and then 3 and 7. So both numbers benefit there. And this would be worth, this would probably be worth 4 mana actually, because they're both 2 mana cards, and that would probably only be worth 2, maybe 3 at a push. That would be worth 3 though, I'd say. So yeah, they're all pretty good, and then you're getting this solid elemental. I don't know if it's too slow. I don't think it is, because of these being 0 mana you can cast them straight away. But I think you'd always go for the Augment 2. I think it's a lot better. One more thing before I finish this video. There was one other change. Originally, the Light Core was restore 1 health to your hero and 1 to a random friendly minion. It was splitting up the priest healing, but I thought because it's random and 1 health barely does anything, it's too weak compared to what Void Core is. I think Void's strongest on both, but dealing damage is always worth the most. So yeah, that's the vanilla set. You'll see more synergy with the Chronos spells later on when I show you the Ungoro set. Thank you all for watching, guys. Like, subscribe, ding that bell. Leave a comment to what you think of the cards. Are they OP? Are they underpowered? Which one's your favourite? But most importantly, guys, wash your hands.